How do I, 26 million, stop lying to my 25 female fiancée and rebuild her trust? I've struggled with honesty for most of my life, and it's finally catching up with me in my relationship. I don't want to lose the woman I love, and I need to change. About a year and a half ago, I lied to my then girlfriend, now fiancée, about a few things. At the time, my parents were going through a rough divorce, and I had to leave home to find a place to stay. Instead of telling her exactly where I was staying, I told her one thing but did another. On top of that, I made a comment to some friends about how I couldn't stay at their place because of my girlfriend's past trauma, something deeply personal that she never wanted shared. She was hurt that I even mentioned it, and I completely understand why. Lastly, I hid my minor Adderall use during my final exams. It wasn't the usage that bothered her, it was the fact that I didn't tell her and that she had to find out on her own. After these incidents, she made it clear that if I ever lied or withheld the truth again, there would be serious consequences. Since then, I've genuinely worked hard to be completely transparent with her. I've been in therapy for over a year, trying to understand why my default reaction to stress or confrontation is dishonesty. I felt like I was making real progress. We've been engaged since November and have our wedding coming up. We're both occasional marijuana users, but I had stopped for about a month and a half because of an upcoming drug test in April. While she was away on vacation, I tested myself with an at-home drug test, and thinking I was in the clear, I smoked half a joint. When she came back, we were talking casually when I asked if I could take a hit from her bong. She was surprised and said, "Why would you ruin all the progress you've made?" At that moment, I panicked. She then found the joint's packaging in the trash, and I instinctively lied, saying it must have been from a previous time. But when she later found the burnt end of the joint in the ashtray, she confronted me again. I finally told her the truth. She is, understandably, extremely disappointed in me. The problem isn't that I smoked, it's that I lied again. I had worked so hard to rebuild trust over the past year and a half, and in an instant, I shattered that progress. Now she questions whether I could be lying about other things, even though I truly haven't hidden anything else. I hate that my immediate reaction in difficult situations is to lie. It's something I learned growing up in a household where telling the truth often led to punishment or conflict. But I'm an adult now, and my past doesn't justify my actions. I know better, and I want to do better. I don't think this is an engagement-ending situation, but I know I can't keep making these mistakes. I need to change my mentality about honesty and confrontation. I need to stop being afraid of her disappointment and start facing things head-on. I'd love any advice on how to break the cycle of lying when I feel pressured or ashamed, regain her trust after damaging it, again, hold myself accountable in the long run. I know I have work to do, and I refuse to let my bad habits define me or ruin this relationship. Any insights or personal experiences would be really appreciated. My boyfriend 29M wants to go on a solo trip with his female best friend 29F. Am I overreacting? Hey everyone, I really need some outside perspectives because I feel like I'm losing my mind trying to figure out if my concerns are valid or if I'm just being irrationally possessive. My boyfriend has a very close female best friend. They've been friends for years, long before we got together, and I've always known that she holds an important place in his life. I've never been the type to control who my partner is friends with, and I don't believe in telling someone they can't have close friendships with the opposite gender. That said, my boyfriend is about to go on a family trip to the US, which is totally fine with me. But here's where things get tricky. After spending time with his family, he has planned a separate solo trip with just his female best friend. This would be a 5 to 6 day trip where they'll be traveling together, exploring new places, and based on past experiences with their travels, possibly sharing a bed. I trust my boyfriend, I really do. But I can't help but feel that this entire situation is unnecessary and inappropriate for someone in a committed relationship. I can't wrap my head around why it has to be just the two of them. Why not a group trip? Why not include other friends? Why not make it a shorter meetup instead of a multi-day trip where they'll be spending nearly all their time together? I feel incredibly uneasy about the idea of them sharing a bed, experiencing each other's care and companionship in a way that feels too intimate. It's not even about thinking that something will definitely happen. It's about the optics of the situation, the emotional closeness, and the simple fact that I feel sidelined in this equation. When I brought up my concerns, he was surprised that I felt this way. He told me that I should know by now that he sees her like a sister, that I have nothing to worry about, and that this is just a trip between two friends who are catching up after not seeing each other for a long time. He says that he has never given me a reason to doubt him, and that if the roles were reversed, he would have no issue with me traveling alone with a close male friend. I'm honestly not sure I believe that. Here's where I need advice. I keep going back and forth between, this is a completely unnecessary trip that crosses some boundaries in a committed relationship, and maybe I'm just being insecure and need to let him have his friendships. I don't want to be the controlling girlfriend. I don't want to be the person who tries to dictate what my partner can and can't do. But at the same time, I feel like my emotions are being dismissed as if I'm just being clingy or jealous when, in reality, I think this would make a lot of people uncomfortable. Am I crazy for thinking this is a bit too much? Have any of you been in similar situations? If so, how did you handle it? I need some honest opinions because I'm struggling to balance trust with my gut feelings. My F29 boyfriend M27 always finds someone more important than me in our long-distance relationship. Is this normal? My boyfriend and I have been together for 3 years, but for the past 2, we've been in a long-distance relationship. There's a 6-hour time difference between us, which makes communication tricky, but we've tried to stay connected. Daily messages, calls, even video chatting before bed. I wouldn't say everything is perfect, but I always felt like we were both making an effort. Lately, though, I've started feeling like I'm just not a priority. 2 weeks ago, a childhood friend of his passed away. It hit him hard, and I completely understood. I gave him space to grieve, checking in every now and then to remind him I was there for him. He barely responded, which was understandable, but it still left me feeling distant and worried. I even offered to fly out to be with him, but he said it wasn't necessary. Fast forward to last Friday. I had a work event, but I made sure to leave early so I could be there when he finished work. We hadn't spoken much all week, and I was really looking forward to reconnecting. When he finally got home, we were on a call for maybe 10 minutes before he told me he was heading out with his friends. Just like that. I tried to keep it together, but he could tell I was upset. He asked if I was okay, but at that point, what was I supposed to say? Yes, I love getting ditched after days of barely speaking. I just told him to have fun, and he left. This kind of thing has happened before. When I flew to visit him last year, he brought his sister to the airport to pick me up, which was fine. But instead of taking me straight to his place, or at least making sure I was settled, he dropped me off at the hotel and left for a quick errand. That errand turned into hours of me being alone in a foreign country, without a key to the room, exhausted from the flight. Apparently, he had to help his uncle with some computer issue. I don't know why I brushed it off back then. Maybe because when we're actually together in person, he's not like this. He's attentive, caring, and makes me feel special. But long distance, I feel disposable. I've been trying to suppress my feelings because he's grieving, and I don't want to be selfish. But at the same time, I can't shake this feeling that I'm always the last thing on his list. He'll move things around for his friends, his family, even a random favor for an uncle. But when it comes to me, it's like I always come second. I love him so much, and I don't want to lose this relationship. But am I being irrational for feeling this way? Or is this a sign that something deeper is wrong? What do you think about these stories? Like, comment, and subscribe to help the channel grow.